and welcome to Beyond the Edge. I'm your host, Brandy Deutsch.
Hi, I'm Dee Dee DeMayo, your co-host, Light, Love, and Blessings.
Well, we've got a really interesting show for you guys today. I am super excited because this is a subject that is near and dear to my heart, and I think a lot of friends that I have been talking about this subject for a while, and I call this Unleashing Masculinity because it's such an important topic. There's been so much confusion around when should I do this, when should I do that, when should I not, when should I come back, when should I go in? And so I really want to talk about this subject today. I have an amazing guest. We have an amazing guest. Her name is Stefania Puleo, and she is the world's #1 men's love and relationship coach and hypnotherapist. She is the founder and CEO of the Gentleman's Square. It's a socially digital space that reaches thousands of men from all over the world. And she helps driven men build a rock-solid relationship with a value-matched woman by understanding her female energy, how she thinks, and how to keep her ignited and sexy and passionate in a loving relationship. That's a mouthful, but that's what we want, actually. So, Stefania, welcome. We're so excited to have you today.
Hello, Brandy, and hi, Dee Dee. Thank you.
Hi.
Thank you so much for having me here today. I'm pretty excited myself. Thank you.
So first of all, Stefania, I want to know how you got started into this work. What made you want to go straight into igniting men's masculinity and getting them into a relationship that really is exciting?
Well, it does go back quite a while. I used to work first of all, I used to work as a hairdresser. So as a hairstylist, I used to work with both men and women, styling their hair. And of course, as a salon, as women, I'm sure you know, when you go to your salon, your hairstylist, you kind of like, chit chat and open up and share all your deep, I guess sometimes secrets or emotions or whatever. So I used to get a lot of that from the women. And I used to also get men come in and ask me, what do you think I should do? What do you think, what do you think she's thinking? But that was sort of like something that happened during my hairdressing years. But then I moved away and became moved on careers and became a personal trainer. And from there, I became a coach as well. And so I used to coach both men and women in a gym. Again, the same sort of scenario where women would come, sure, train and look after their bodies, but at the end of, wind down, stretching, the whole conversation used to always be around relationships, about their other half, their boyfriends, their husbands. Why doesn't he understand me? Why doesn't he get me? If only he knew how I was feeling, which is something that, I think you've probably heard yourselves say it as well. Then I used to coach, obviously, the men as far as gym, and they wouldn't actually come out with, that kind of conversation because men are a lot more reserved. So they would come to me and just say, Stefania, what do you think? You're a woman. What do you think she's thinking? What do you think I should do? So this whole, backwards and forwards, I felt like I was this advocate for both men and women. Of course, not, they're totally unrelated relationships here. They were just single people just sharing with me. So I really thought after coaching women and a lot, coaching women on their fitness, their health, their mental relationships, I really felt there needed to be a shift and more direction towards men. And to let them really know how, we as women feel. And of course, my own relationships, I've had my, a series of situations, occasions, and things that I thought, if only he knew how I was feeling, if only he was able to communicate, if only he would open up to me. So from there, I thought, I feel that this is something that will work. So I kind of tested it, and it kind of just fell in my lap, where men would automatically do that. So I just went deeper, studied more, and went, further in my studies. I even became a hypnotherapist as a result, because I felt that that was a better channel to help men Why? Because hypnotherapy is less invasive. I feel that men, in general, don't like to open up. So therefore, through hypnotherapy, it's less invasive and it's straight to the subconscious mind.
Right.
They get faster results, and men like to fix things like that. Whereas women, we're all emotional. We like to know why and how and feel all the energy. Men don't like to do that. They want, there's a problem, let's fix it. So yeah, that's how I came about doing it all.
That's fabulous. I mean, Dee Dee and I work with theta healing, which also works with the subconscious. And it's the same. It's with hypnotherapy. It's the same. It's almost like you need to go deeper into what's really happening in order to shift and change a behavior, right? And sometimes it's so difficult because behavior is so ingrained in us, in our culture, in our family systems, and just in our personalities sometimes. And so hypnotherapy is almost like the perfect kind of modality to getting men to shift in a way that they really want to in order to be in a functioning, happy, exciting relationship. Do you find that's true?
Absolutely. Because you see, just going back to hypnotherapy, it's a modality which cuts through the critical mind, okay? And that's what's stopping a lot of us, whether we're males or females, to actually getting the transformation from happening. So when you are in hypnosis, obviously, you are at a very asleep, awake state. You are totally in control, and you can stop the sessions anytime you want to. That's never happened to me, thank God, but you can stop it. So you're totally in control, but it cuts through the critical mind and gets those, really positive message units back in there to create transformation. Absolutely. Yes, sorry.
I'm curious, though, you said, the critical mind, and a question's been looming for, a couple of minutes now. It's like, I was thinking that with the hypnotherapy, and then what we do with theta, what Brandy was explaining is, it's like, we ask the questions that are in their mind. They haven't allowed themselves to ask or admit that those are their questions. And so it's like, when you uncover that surface, then they start going into that deeper place inside their mind and their soul and the subconscious to find out what's, truly the problem. Does that make sense? I was trying.
Yeah, absolutely. And through my therapy, you see, you don't just go under hypnosis. Obviously, right. There's a cognitive, section beforehand. I guess, I call it cognitive, conversation, where the client will share. And of course, through NLP, you pick up a lot of the information, then you're creating the questions. Then, when you go into the subconscious mind, everything will unravel as the way it should. Yeah, absolutely. So it's amazing. And it creates, enables both men to have better relationships with themselves, mm-hmm. with their women, and women are having wonderful relationships as well. So, and everybody's happy. Everybody's like, it's a win-win. Everybody's love tanks are full. So, because really it's so hard. I think we tend to overcomplicate by over-analyzing, dissecting and worrying and creating more drama in our lives.
Absolutely. And I just want to celebrate for a moment the fact that men and women are so different. Right? Yeah. I mean, I feel like people want to say, right? Like, oh, you should be more like this or more like that. But wait a minute. I think it's wonderful that we're so different. And then where we meet in the middle is where we can really connect and communicate. I know communication's a big part of what you share and teach men and I guess also women sometimes. I'm not sure, but it sounds like it. And communication, I think, is at the heart of how you learn to connect and grow. What are some ways in which you use communication, Stefania?
Well, I think it's very important, and I teach everybody, not just men, but everybody, to be able to listen. I think communication really starts with, listening, because then when you can listen and be present, you're able to, express and obviously feeling comfortable in yourself enough to be authentic, to express whatever it is you want to express. Because a lot of the time it's just fear of what, you know, that other person may think of us if we say that, or will we upset them? And it's, you know, of course, it's all those filters that we really have to, like, it's okay. Being comfortable with yourself then can enable you to be authentic enough, transparent enough that that other person can see that and, you know, won't put their walls up. And if they do, you know, it's not about you. It's whatever's going on in their life. So, you know, as you know, there's so many layers to peel back, so many. But if you just, you know, make that decision to make that transformation for your own self first, then everything will unfold the way it's supposed to, I believe.
I love that. That was really beautiful. So you have a online social platform for men to connect, probably not just with other men, but with you. And the way that you carry it out is so great because it's almost like giving people an opportunity to just be themselves and to ask questions and to open up. Can you talk a little bit more about that platform and why you created it?
Yes. Okay. So the platform's fairly new. So I've only just started the group. I think I have, you know, over about 150 people so far, which is great. It's only been about 3 weeks or so.
Oh, wow.
So I'm really pleased with that. And obviously it's going to escalate. It's a platform where men can come together and share and be a support to one another. So it's a place that's only for men. Unfortunately, ladies, you know, I'm specifically created it for them, where I can, you know, create like lives as well and have interactive where men want to come on and talk and share about their own issues or questions. I'm trying to build the confidence in them to be able to do that with me. The fact that they've joined is a great sign because they're trusting me to be able to deliver this in a way that empowers men, in a way that helps them step into their own masculinity. I'm not here to tell them, you know, emasculate them. It's not my game. My game is to really empower them. And also bring, you know, to their awareness some of the red flags in different scenarios. Because, you know, as women, and, you know, I love my dear sisters, but we're not all the same. You know, we're not all caring, open and loving. You know, there are some shady people out there, not because they want to, they're probably hurting themselves. But, you know, as beings, human beings, we need to protect and know where we're at. So setting healthy boundaries, knowing the signs, all that comes to play. And the fact that I'm a female, you know, I bring it to them from a female perspective. That's the whole idea. And I know, you know, male to male therapy is fantastic and I'm all for it. But when you have a problem, and same thing goes for women, because, you know, what I'm about to say for men is when you have a problem with a lady, a female, she's of the opposite sex, you don't go running to your mates because they're only coming to you with advice from either their own pain, their own hurt, or from a masculine point of view, a masculine energy. And so when you're dealing with women, this is where I'm able to help them understand female energy, not become female energy. There's a difference, right? You understand it. And then when you understand something, it just flows. So the same thing goes for women. I used to say to them, you know, and I learned this, believe it or not, when I was very young. And my brother, you know, and you're a teenager and you start dating and stuff. And my older brother, he said to me, you know, if you ever have any questions about men, he goes, you come to me or you go to another man. He goes, because a man is going to tell you the truth. And that really stuck in my head. And I thought, well, yeah, it makes sense. He will tell you how a man thinks. So a female will tell you how a female thinks. So that's why I really, you know, it's not about me being a hero as a female. I really want to take that away. It's really about delivering the message from a female point of view with love, and understanding and empowerment.
Absolutely. I think that's essential. Otherwise, they're just hearing it from another guy who, he thinks like he does. So it would be challenging. Do you find most of your clients are single, married? What kind of clientele comes to you? Who would you be talking to?
Okay, I have a bit of a mixed bag, actually. I have both single men that are actually looking for real love, because I deal with driven men that really want to make something of their lives. It's not about helping men just to pick up and, one night stands. And that's okay if that's what they want, but, to use this knowledge and empowerment in a positive way. So, single men that are dating, men that are, challenged and find that they're always attracting the same type of woman, whether it be toxic or maybe not, there's a woman that empowers them, maybe a woman that just always takes. So we kind of work through those issues. Or even couples that have been married for a long time and, they're still together, they still love each other, but the flame has dwindled down a little bit and they can't sort of like reignite it, because the fact that they're together, that's a great sign. So, and they don't want to leave each other, but yet they just can't live together. So there may need to be a little bit of, shift in energy or whatever it is that needs to happen. And I have had cases where I've worked with both, okay, husband and thing, but I don't work on their marriage as per se. I work with them on themselves. So then when they're empowered, then together the relationship then will mold together, because I'm not a couple counselor type of thing or therapist. It's more working on the individuals and empowering them and being the best versions of themselves.
And that's really where it's at, isn't it? If we're working on ourselves, we're not trying to control what's happening outside of us. We're working on what we've been seeing in our own patterns in our own life, because it is about patterns. That's what we talk about a lot, right? You've been doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. You got to change it.
Well, what Einstein says that, doesn't he? He says, insanity is doing the same thing and expecting, a different result. So yeah, absolutely.
That's right. So if people want to check out your platform, or if they want to get in touch with you, what's the best way to do that, Stefania?
Okay, well, I've got quite a few. I do have my website, so it's the Gentleman Square. I do have Linktree. You can go straight to Linktree at the Gentleman Square, and on that platform you have all my links, all social medias, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, men's group. I've also got a free ebook for gentlemen to download for free. It's called 5 Ways to Make Juicier Connections with Women.
I think we can put that in the comments. Is that okay? Mm-hmm. Because if it's a download, then they can click on that in the comments, and then it'll
five ways to what?
To make juicier connections with a woman.
Look at Dee face.
I don't want a juicy connection with a woman, but I may need to find out what I need to know to chat. Okay. Yeah. I'm wondering, though, am I spelling juicier right? That looks funny to me, but I'm going to show that 5 ways to make juicier connections.
Yeah.
We have a show called that. J-I-U-C.
J-I-U-C.
Oh.
J-I.
Okay. See, it disturbed me. I can't spell.
You're getting juicy over there, Dee Dee.
I cannot. I will never tell anything to anybody. No. What are you talking about?
I love it. I love that. That is fantastic. And it's really like a grab for men. Like, yes, that's what I want. I want that, right? And I did read some of the. It's on the. You actually have a Facebook group too, so I kind of took a peek and I looked at some of the things you had on there, and I loved it because what you're doing was saying, hey, what about that text that you can send your wife? You hadn't texted her this kind of thing in a while. Go ahead and do that kind of thing, and just something to get her kind of excited or ignited, And I think that's really great. I've been in a relationship for, I don't know, 8-9 years now. It's been quite a while. And we have a 4-year-old. So it's not easy. And it's so funny. Her timing is impeccable. You know, we'll start to get cozy and she'll say, what about me? What about me?
Yeah. So, and absolutely, you know, children as well. And whether it's your own children or stepchildren, you know, we work through all these issues as well, because you may be in a relationship with a woman that has children and you don't, and you've never had children. So how do you deal with that? That's all new. Or it may be you both have children. So there is a lot. And I think in today's times where everything is just fast and delivered and, you know, quick magic pills to fix everything, relationships aren't like that. You can't just pop a pill and fix your relationship, right? As much as you'd like to, because they've got a pill for everything. So therefore, you know, this is one thing that, you know, there's no magic pill. You are the magic pill. You create that energy within you and bring it to the table into your relationship. And whether it's, you know, whether it's a new relationship or, you know, a long time relationship. I know even with like my parents, right? My parents have been married 60 years, God bless them, this year in October. And I see, even though, you know, they're older, you know, the energies, and, you know, my dad, he just adores my mum, and she does too, but they, you know, the love languages that come to play. But what keeps these people together? You know, I sort of like, I see it, and the commitment they have. And I think that, not, you know, all the way, but in the younger generation, it has been lost a little. You know, it's a lot easier just to, you know, let's call it quits and let's go. Whereas, you know, seeing the older generation, how they've really worked through situations, I mean, it's just amazing. And we need to stop and look at that as well, you know. And
yeah, I definitely agree with that, Stefania, because, you know, there's these commitment issues that we have sometimes. I think there's so much fear around relationships, and what if I stay? What if I go? Abandonment things come up, you know. So it's important to not run away as much from, and I'm speaking from personal experience, not run away from these experiences when they get difficult, but to know red flags. You know, what's the difference between a red flag and something that you can work through? I think someone like you could really help men kind of work through that, and women too. So if there was something, so Didi and I have a friend, and this one, as you're talking, I'm thinking about him, and there's not a day that goes by that he doesn't post something on Facebook about women are crazy. Don't date a woman that drives you nuts, or, you know, just something out, you know. And so if there was something that you could offer someone who's struggling with not finding the right person for them, what would you say to them?
Okay, now that's a really interesting question, and I don't think there's one answer that's going to fit all, okay, because everybody is at different levels. And I think, you know, if I make it too deep, it may just go over some men's heads, okay? But, and I know, you know, you mentioned this gentleman that keeps posting. I know a few people that do the same, and I have some personal friends that, you know, oh, Stefania, you're a, you know, relationship coach, and yeah, you just can't know, women are just trash, women are this, women are gold diggers, women, and they've just had so much bad experience, right? So if I'm talking to these type of men, I just say, well, you know, let's start looking within, okay? And rather than looking externally and focusing on what it is you don't want, because that's what they're doing, they're really reiterating what it is they don't want. Let's start talking about and reflecting what it is you do desire. You know, because there's billions, you know, our population's 9 billion people. What, let's say half, even though I think it's over that, we have women, 5 billion women. We're all like that. You know, no, you know, universal law, we're attracting what we're actually bringing to our thoughts, that there is someone out there for you. And remember that everyone that does come into your life is really a reflection of yourself. And that's a really hard pill to swallow for some, if particularly for men.
I don't have a mirror anymore. I don't reflect anything. It's not coming. No mirror, no reflection. It's not happening.
Not happening. But yeah, so if we can just say, okay, so what is it in me that needs to change here? How can I just, just really work on this? And if it's really difficult, you may need to pick up the phone and chat with someone. Some people, it's hard for them to sit with themselves and just ask these questions. So, I do offer insight calls, free, complimentary 30-minute insight calls. If they want to reach out and have a little chat, I am here to do that. It's not a sales call. It's nothing like that, okay? It's just purely just to have a sounding board to vent. Some people just get on and vent, and that's it. I never see them again. That's fine. There are others that kind of think, well, you know what? Maybe I am ready now. This is time for me to make some changes. Whatever it is, talk to somebody that can maybe listen and help you in some way. Don't just feel like there's no way out and that you're stuck in it, because there's always a solution to something. Doesn't matter how bad it is, there is always a solution. And everything happens for our highest good. Even when we're in the worst chaos, there's always sunshine at the end of it all. I believe that.
That's a beautiful message, Stefania. Thank you. That is absolutely perfect. Very, very good. And I really appreciate that you offer these 30-minute calls just for anyone who wants to talk and listen. I think that's getting to be actually a very popular thing now with all of the isolation that's occurring.
Correct.
And the loneliness. People are really needing that human connection with people, because maybe they don't see anyone outside of their work or home or school or whatever they go and do. And I think it's essential that we have that talk and that connection. And actually, really soon, in a couple weeks, actually, we're going to be doing another show that's going to be really profound and helpful, that goes along the lines of what you're talking about, and that's a suicide awareness show. So we're going to be speaking about it openly, and how important it is to connect with people that maybe you don't know very well, but it's part of our self-healing, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. And I'm not sure if you have that there today, but today is Are You Okay Day. It's one of those days where you reach out to all the people pretty much that you know that you haven't spoken to in a while, and you actually reach out and send a text message or give them a call, are you okay? Because a lot of times we don't hear from people in a while, and we think, oh, they're just, blown us off or what, but maybe something's going on in their lives, and as you know, mental health is really something that's rising rapidly at the moment. So I think we should be there for each other. We really, even just a quick message, thinking of you, is everything okay? So that's what we've got going on here in Australia at the moment. I'm not sure if it's worldwide, but my girlfriend said to me, today's Are You Okay Day? And I said, what? She said, yeah, you're going to reach out to people and just say, are you okay? Just reaching out and saying, are you okay? So,
I love it. Thank you for sharing that. I do know that that September is Suicide Prevention Month. So that may coincide.
It may be tied in together.
Exactly. That may coincide with that. And I think it's a wonderful idea. I mean, I do have some friends that I check on regularly. They're elderly, and sometimes they get out, sometimes they don't. But I think that is such a great idea. And we're so glad you were on today, Stefania, because I love your message, and I really appreciate what you're doing for men and women, because it's what you're doing for them, you're doing for their partners.
Absolutely. So, thank you. I really appreciate you both. I appreciate you having me and allowing me to share my, message to both men and women, of this world. So
absolutely. Our pleasure. So reach out to Stefania if you know of someone, or if you know someone who could use the connection. So thank you, Stefania. We will hopefully see you some other time, and we appreciate you. Have a great day.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.